Hello, Clovis Elementary families. This is Principal Donnell Kellum. I'm providing you with a presentation of information that will help you accurately respond to a parent survey that you will be receiving. As you may have heard, our district has applied for a waiver to return to campus for in-person, face-to-face instruction. There are a lot of very intricate details and plans that have been prepared on our district website, www.cusd.com. I'd like to review some of these things on the district level, as well as what this will look like more specifically at Clovis Elementary. So you might be wondering what you can expect as you prepare your child to return to in-campus instruction. Health screenings will be a vital component in moving forward. This also involves deep cleaning and disinfection of our facilities, using hand sanitizer upon classroom entry, families and staff conducting daily health screenings at home. Temperature checks will take place on campus for students, and staff will be asked to do so at home. We will have a contact tracing system in place. Face coverings will be required for all staff and students, regardless of their age or grade level. We will be monitoring for COVID symptoms. These include fever, chills, cough, shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, fatigue, muscle or body aches, headache, new loss of taste or smell, sore throat, congestion or runny nose, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. If your child has any of those symptoms, we ask that you keep them home. If a student presents those symptoms while they are at school, they will be moved to a sick child room. We are calling that the care room. Students in the sick child room will be masked and socially distanced. They will be supervised with staff who will be wearing appropriate PPE and will be available to evaluate and assist students. The sick child room will be cleaned and disinfected after a symptomatic student leaves. Once a student is picked up, they will need to remain home for 10 days after showing the symptoms, and they have been fever-free for 24 hours without the use of fever-reducing medication. A student will be okay to come back to school if they have a negative COVID test and their symptoms have resolved for at least 24 hours without the use of medication. It's very important to note that students living in the same household with a student presenting with symptoms and/or testing positive for COVID will need to remain out of school for at least 14 days from exposure and/or until such a time as the student with symptoms is confirmed to be COVID negative and symptom-free. So what that means is your other children in the home who may not be experiencing any symptoms will need to be excluded from school as well. Our cleaning and disinfecting plan is outlined below. There will be several rounds of cleaning throughout the day, before school, mid-morning, after lunch, in the afternoon, and after school ends. Schools will be cleaned 4 times a day. High-use surfaces will be cleaned by our custodians. Teachers will be provided with hand sanitizer and disinfectant for their classrooms. Anyone entering a classroom will be required to sanitize his or her hands. Desks and any shared classroom surface that students use will be disinfected by the teacher as needed. Bathrooms will be disinfected multiple times a day, and soap and paper towels will be replenished regularly. All students are expected to wash their hands after using the restroom. Details on our disinfecting solution are here. Clovis Unified is using Oxivare, a hydrogen peroxide-based disinfectant that is listed by the EPA as a COVID-killing product, which is safe around people. As we plan for a healthy road back to campus, we have several other things in place. Most importantly, our instructional schedules at the elementary level. As I mentioned, we are considering a hybrid instructional model as part of our waiver. This is because we will need to maintain 6 feet of social distancing between students. Of course, a classroom with 37 students looks much different than a classroom with 15. So we want to make sure with the hybrid schedule that our students are able to socially distance. Of course, we will have hand washing, face coverings, a health screening, daily temperature checks. Also, we will not be allowing any on-campus visitors. This includes parents. This includes walking your child to their classroom. We will not be able to accommodate those things. Additionally, we will have changes in our walking routes on campus to ensure that there are designated paths and students are able to socially distance. You will have an opportunity to hear from our superintendent, Dr. Emer O'Farrell, in conjunction with public health officials this coming Monday, October 12th at noon. There is a website listed here, cusd.com/return to campus live stream. If you're unable to attend at that time, a recording of the meeting will be available. The schedules involved with our return to campus are something I'd like to review specifically with you. This draft schedule is for grades 1 through 6, and it includes an AM/PM model. This schedule was developed with input from teachers throughout the district. You will notice that students will be on campus for 2.5-hour blocks for face-to-face instruction. When they are not on campus, they will be completing independent work at home. At this time, we are not able to accommodate AM/PM requests. Students have already been placed onto a track, and we will be assigning them to an AM or PM schedule. If your family situation does not allow for that flexibility, it might be best for you to choose CUSD Connect, which I will explain in a moment. Again, in looking at this hybrid schedule, it allows for Wednesdays to be Zoom days. The intent is to keep tech skills up and allow the whole class to be together. There will be no on-campus instruction happening on Wednesdays. Again, students will not eat on campus. They will get a grab and go lunch if they are here for the AM/PM hybrid model. Here are some draft kindergarten schedules and transitional kindergarten schedules that we are continuing to consider through this planning process. Some of these choices will be contingent upon the number of students who choose to return to in-campus instruction. Some challenges came about in planning for kindergarten and transitional kindergarten because they're already on an AM/PM schedule. So we have one choice that includes 2 days a week on campus, or we have a second schedule that includes 4 days a week on campus. Both schedules allow for 6 hours total of weekly face-to-face instruction for these students. If you're interested in continuing our current model of learning, you would like to choose the CUSD Connect schedule. This should look very familiar as it is our current instructional model. Students who choose this option would continue with 3 learning blocks for 1st through 6th grade and 2 for transitional kindergarten and kindergarten. As I mentioned, there would be some very specific protocols and processes for entering and exiting campus. If you're familiar with Clovis Elementary, you know that along the east side of our school, where the parking lot is, there are 4 natural entry points. Specific classrooms would be designated for those entry and exit points. We will really have to work together to make drop-off and pick-up a smooth and safe process. I did note here, it's important to keep in mind that our playgrounds will remain closed and recess will not take place during on-campus face-to-face instruction if you were to choose the hybrid model. Again, in looking more closely at what the daily temperature checks and health screening would look like at Clovis Elementary, I've provided some details. We will be sending out reminders through Blooms to help you and your family assess each of your child's health before coming to school. A reminder that if they're having any symptoms at all, they should remain home. We will have signage posted around campus with health screening reminders that visitors will not be allowed, and how students are being expected to access their classrooms and move about on campus. Temperature check kits will be provided to each classroom teacher They'll have a thermometer, N95 mask, all appropriate PPE, and hand sanitizer. Again, we will be constantly monitoring for fevers and symptoms while a child is on campus. And if they present any symptoms, they will have access to our care room. Here's where we are at in our current timeline of collecting feedback. As I mentioned, you will be getting a parent survey. You will be indicating which learning model works best for your family, hybrid face-to-face, or continuing with CUSD Connect. You will also have the opportunity to voice your preference on whether you think we should return to school as soon as November 3rd, or if you think it might be best to push that option back to the beginning of the third quarter on January 18th. Simultaneously, our staff and teachers will be taking a survey to indicate their teaching preference and when they think we should return to school. Once these surveys have been completed, we will start the master schedule building processes. Classes will be built, like I said, based on these survey responses. Teacher changes will be necessary in many situations to accommodate all of the needs of our community. I provided here our yearly school calendar, so you can take a look at where the two date choices fall, November 3rd and January 18th. You will notice if we come back on November 3rd, we have several holidays between then and the start of the new year. And again, January 18th is the first day of the third quarter. Again, another reminder that you have the opportunity to attend the Elementary Parent Forum on Monday, October 12th at noon. And again, a reminder that your feedback from this survey is so valuable and so important. We know that every family situation is unique, as every child's learning experience through our current model has also been unique. I encourage you to take time and really think about what's going to work best for you moving forward. Important to note that our return to campus will feel and look quite a bit different under the hybrid model, and we definitely acknowledge that. Thank you so much for your time and completing this survey for every child in your household. I think it will be interesting to see how those responses come back, also knowing that your responses for individual children might look different. What you think is best for your kindergartner moving forward might be different than what you think for your fifth grader, and that's okay. We value your input and feedback. We will be preparing follow-up presentations and meeting opportunities as we process this information and move towards a return to school. In my email, I provided a link to a Google form that you are encouraged to fill out because your feedback will help prepare future presentations that will more directly answer your questions and concerns. Thank you so much for your time. I encourage you to continue accessing CUSD.com for more information about the waiver process and protocols that will be in place for a healthy return. Thank you.